like walking around with, like, I love this woman and I want peace in this relationship.
Right.
But I'm to the point where I'm walking around flipping two birds.
For years, Kody Brown thought he was the man who could keep it all intact. The family, the wives, the dream, all of it. He walked around like the man who knew the rules, who could juggle love and loyalty like they were boxes to be checked on a list. But inside of him, something was changing. Something quiet. Something that would one day rage loud enough that even he couldn't ignore it anymore. And it had all begun with just one question. One he could no longer get out of his head. "What if," Christine had whispered once, "you were the reason we all fell apart?" It wasn't rage in her voice. It was something worse. It was truth. And truth, when it comes for you, doesn't yell. It whispers. It seeps in when you're alone. When the lights are dim, when you're left with nothing but your reflection and regret. For Kody, that moment arrived one night when the cameras were gone. The doors closed, and the laughter that once filled his house had turned into silence. He moved through spaces that once held a pulse, the silences of his children's laughter, now a whisper of what had been. On the counter in the kitchen was a coffee cup. Christine's. She'd left it behind. Perhaps intentionally, perhaps not. But there it remained. A reminder. He picked it up, traced the rim of it with his thumb, and felt the burden of all he'd lost. It wasn't only about one wife leaving. It was about years of little things, overlooked, disregarded, or forgotten. Robyn had informed him recently. "You pushed them too far." She said it tearfully, not blame. "You made them feel small, Kody, and they stopped waiting for you to notice them." Those words hurt so much because he knew that they were true. But pride had been louder than reflection always. He'd rationalized that he was the victim, the misinterpreted husband, attempting to guide a family that didn't wish to be guided. He'd told it so many times that even he began to feel that it might be true. But reality is prone to divest of the narrative we construct, and his reality consisted of 4 vacant houses and one wife who didn't smile anymore. Robyn attempted to keep the peace, but even she was losing herself. The woman that used to stand up for him now looked exhausted, her eyes with a quiet despair that no words could mend. She remained because she loved him, or perhaps because she didn't know what exiting looked like. But the bond they shared was different. Thinner, colder. One evening while they were filming, Kody was questioned with an easy question. "Do you think you made mistakes?" He laughed initially, that tight, deflective sort of laughter. But afterwards something snapped. "Yeah," he said at last. "I think I made a lot of them." The crew did not say anything, the quiet hung. "But," he went on, "I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was guiding with love. Perhaps I wasn't." And at that moment, something within him cracked open. Perhaps it was ego, perhaps it was denial, perhaps both. He saw that he had constructed his sense of self as a function of control, not love. He desired unity, but only according to his terms. He desired obedience, not comprehension. And now, all he had left was a name, Kody Brown, attached to a story that no longer belonged to him. Christine's freedom had shown him what peace looked like. Meri's distance had shown him what loneliness felt like. Janelle's independence had shown him what strength could be. And Robyn's silence now showed him what regret truly sounded like. Each woman had taken a piece of him with her, leaving behind only the fragments he never wanted to confront. He'd always tried to deny it, deny the favoritism, deny the manipulation, deny the hurt he inflicted. But now, denial wasn't sufficient to silence the truth, because truth doesn't go away just because you ignore it. It waits, it watches. It comes back around, and it came for him. Robyn also sat across from him one night, her voice low. "Kody, do you ever wonder if you were the one who needed saving?" He didn't respond. He simply glared at the table. In the silence, all the things he'd been trying to avoid came into focus. The vacant chairs, The family portraits that seemed like the memories of strangers, the emptiness of a man who used to think he had it all. In that quiet, he finally saw himself not as a leader, but as a man who shattered the very thing he had spent his time trying to construct. The reality was plain and crushing. He had forever denied it because acknowledging it meant losing the version of himself he had fought so hard to safeguard. But there wasn't protection anymore, undefinedly honesty. And honesty, even though it hurt, was the first genuine feeling he'd had in years. He sat by himself that evening. The sort of evening that drags on and on. The sort where even the quiet is too much to bear, heavy enough to press into your chest. Robyn had retreated upstairs hours earlier, the children long in bed,